As we leave June and head into July, our attention in America turns more toward the tropics. So far in the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, we've seen two named storms, Andrea and Barry. Both were short-lived and formed outside the deep tropics. Andrea developed in the western Atlantic, while Barry formed in the Gulf of Mexico. Both were incredibly weak tropical storms, and both dissipated quickly without major impacts. Despite these early season developments, the main development region, which is the central Atlantic zone between Africa and the Caribbean, has remained quiet. That could change as we head deeper into July. Historically, although the change is minor, we tend to see more activity in July than in June, due to increasing favorability across typical development areas. Sea surface temperatures across both the MDR and Gulf of Mexico are warming, but medium and long-range forecast models are signaling that unfavorable conditions will continue through at least mid-month. As I mentioned in my last video, persistent wind shear, dry air, and Saharan dust outbreaks have been suppressing storm formation, and these inhibiting factors are expected to persist, though they may weaken some. In any case, we're still keeping a close eye on the Caribbean, Gulf, and Western Atlantic, where storm activity typically ramps up as July progresses. Moving to temperatures, July is shaping up to be another scorcher across parts of the United States. July is peak summer for many areas, and the average high temperatures reflect that. 80s and 90s are common across much of the states, with some areas in the Southwest averaging over 100 degrees for the month. NOAA's Climate Prediction Center is forecasting above-average temperatures for nearly the entire country, with the strongest anomalies in the Pacific Northwest, Northern Plains, Great Lakes, and Northeast. This warmth is being driven by persistent upper-level ridging, a lack of organized storm systems, and dry soils that amplify surface heating. From Montana and Minnesota to Maine, more heat waves could occur and be prolonged, with little overnight relief, similar to June. In the West and Northern Rockies, the heat could be especially dangerous, especially since many areas in the Pacific Northwest do not have air conditioning. Drought conditions will help with heat, and dry air means temperatures may soar above normal for extended periods. This does not look to rival the 2021 heat wave, but take caution nonetheless. The Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and parts of the Midwest are projected to be near average, with occasional cold fronts and frequent rain interrupting the heatwave pattern. July's precipitation outlook paints quite the split picture for the United States. The West and the Northern Plains are expected to see below-average rainfall, which will worsen existing drought and, unfortunately, elevate wildfire risk. From California and Oregon through Idaho and the Dakotas, rainfall deficits could be pretty significant, especially given the ongoing dryness from spring. In contrast, the eastern states, especially the coastal areas, are forecast to see above-normal rainfall. This is typical of summer months when hot, humid conditions trigger daily thunderstorms and downpours. Of course, frequent storms can lead to localized flash flooding, especially in urban areas or where soils are already saturated. The central U.S., including parts of Texas, the Mississippi Valley, and the lower Midwest, sits in a more uncertain zone. Precipitation could swing either way, depending on storm track trends and moisture availability. The same is true for the Southwest, where the early part of the month looks to be much wetter than normal, but the latter half could be hot and dry. For instance, in the 6 to 10 day time frame, much of the Southwest is highlighted for above-average rainfall. Moisture from the Pacific will feed into this area, bringing typical monsoon rains, though flooding is a likelihood with slow-moving storms. Now, let's move on to my personal forecasts. Starting with tropical activity, there looks to be multiple distinct areas where tropical storms could form. The western areas of the MDR, the Gulf and East coasts, and right along the coasts of Belize and Honduras. In my opinion, the highest likelihood for tropical development should be along and just off the coasts of Florida, where bouts of energy could get trapped and develop into weak systems. Some models, like the European, have been hinting at potential development like this, where upper-level energy gets trapped just off the coast and could develop into a tropical system. Back to the map, the other main area of interest is the waters around and east of the Lesser Antilles, where any robust tropical waves that move off of Africa could sneakily develop if conditions permit, though this isn't too likely due to wind shear and dry air. Moving to temperatures, I expect much of the country to be warmer than normal. Outside of the southeast, mid-south, and southern plains, above-average temperatures should dominate, especially across the Northwest and Northern Rockies. This animation from the European model showcases what we call the 500 millibar height anomaly. Oranges indicate ridging, where warm and usually dry air is typical, and blues indicate troughing, where cool and usually humid air is typical. Frequent ridging, especially in the week 2 timeframe, will set up across the Northwest, which will cause temperatures to be well above average. Warm conditions will also dominate the northern tier, with cold fronts being few and far between, leading to above normal temps. I am expecting the potential for the southeast and southern plains to end up near or slightly below average, mainly due to frequent rain chances. The precipitation outlook is fairly self-explanatory and not too different from typical July weather. Daily scattered storm chances in the east will likely lead to above normal rainfall, and monsoon rains should give parts of the southwest a wetter than average month. The northwest and northern plains will likely miss out on much of the rainfall action, leading to below average rainfall in the area. This does not mean you will see no rainfall in July, you just likely won't see your average amount. Lastly, here is my overall outlook for the country this July. The big theme this month is warmth, which will be very present across the Northwest. Drought conditions, alongside a continuing dry pattern, will exacerbate the heat in spots, leading to potentially dangerous conditions. The Southwest will be somewhat warmer than average, especially toward the middle of the month. With the monsoon kicking in, expect semi-frequent storm chances here, as well as further east, where increased chances for monsoon storms could keep things a little cooler. Much of the Midwest should stay slightly warmer than average, with continuing chances of severe weather, though the frequency should be less than June. The Central Plains are right in the middle of the conflicting patterns to the west and east, and should end up near normal for the month, though you could see cooler than average temperatures at times. The same can be said for north-central Texas, where frequent clouds and occasional rain looks to keep you slightly cooler than average this month. Again, the same can be said for the southeast, where daily rain and storm chances alongside a few cold fronts should keep the area wet and cool. The best chance at heavy rains should be closer to the coastal areas. The Gulf Coast should keep an eye out for any tropical development this month. While hurricanes are unexpected at the moment, a few spin-up storms can always happen and bring gusty, rainy weather. The Northeast and Ohio Valley should expect both above-average temps and rainfall, with severe weather possible across much of the region. Lastly, like most other regions this month, New England looks to be warmer than average, with occasional storm chances less frequent than areas to your south. This July is expected to bring widespread heat in the north, frequent storms in the east, and growing drought concerns out west. And while the Atlantic tropics are off to a slow start for the United States, the door will open for impacts this month. Make sure you're prepared for anything that comes your way this month, and stay tuned for updates as the pattern evolves. As always, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.